Hi, it's Nancy again. How you doing? Just wanted to come back for my next video. As promised, I would like to do them weekly, then I would like to move more regular, but I'm still in my learning and what information is going to be good for out there to support people, because there's many subjects that I want to talk about. Using the laws of attraction, the laws of assumption, and the laws of projection, which are from many teachings from different teachers. The main teachers that I've worked with are Abraham Hicks, vibrational energy and the energy that's photographed and come to you. And the other teacher, which is more recent in the last 4 years that I've learnt, 5 years, is Neville Goddard. His teaching of the law of projection. That for me has been an eye-opener into a more deeper understanding of this world, this multi-dimensional world that we live in, and understanding my vibration and feeling good and how that can affect other people around me, who I'm being, if I'm, and how do I also honor my feelings if I'm not feeling great, and using the toolboxes that I've learnt from the courses I've did and different teachers I've learnt from over the last 10 years really. But, the biggest guidance for me was that I came again to this learning through various things happening in my life, and always thinking, wow, my life is so intense. Things were always, things were going really great, and then they went really not great. And when I had my paragliding accident in 2013, my left foot had exploded open and it was crushed, and I hit my head, and my ribs fractured and my pelvis, and I was in the Himalayas, and that was a trauma in itself. So I had known the laws then, and I was coaching, but they were more intellectual and knowing, but I wanted them to be in my being, so that who I was being was this understanding of law, state of consciousness and energy, understanding my energy and understanding my self-talk, so that I could bring joy within myself no matter what my circumstances were. That's what brought me more into this work, and to understand how to feel joy through when you're not feeling great, so I have, my last video was on how to help my teenagers get A's through using the laws of projection, the laws of assumption, and the laws of attraction, as most people know, because in the last, 20, 30 years, 40 years, that name's been out there much more. But today I wanted to talk about how to use the laws of assumption to reimagine a beautiful relationship with your children. And now, if my children are like having a difficult day, or we're living in our house, and as a mum I would like them to support in the house, because they live there, and me not to just do the mum thing and just do it all for them. And because if I'm going to do it all for them, I want to do it from a loving place. But if I'm doing it from a resentful place, then that energy builds up in me. So what I use is the laws of assumption. So take for example, if I've asked my boys to do things, and they're going, yeah, mum, we'll do it. And, a couple of days has passed and they haven't done it. So I used to get really quite upset. So what I do now is I start imagining, I go into a peaceful place, and I do take a few breaths, and I go, I am secure. I am honored, I am respected, we honor each other. Isn't it lovely that we always bring love and compassion and understanding to the relationship? And then I imagine a scene that implies that my boys, so I imagine the house that we live in. I know these are only simple things, but they're massive things if you have children and you don't want to have this angst and or this upset and you just end up doing it all yourself. But then you hold that in your body, which is not healthy for us either. And it's not healthy for us to also blame the other for not helping. So, you ask them. So I do an imaginal scene that implies that my boys are helping me and honoring me, and I'm honoring them, and we respect each other's space. So I go into like a dreamlike state. I close my eyes and I imagine the scene that implies that my house is, I walked into the house and the house is clean, and I'm like, yeah, and the boys are, they're doing their music or whatever they're doing. And I go up to them and say, thank you guys, it looks amazing. And they go, you're welcome, and we love doing it. And we appreciate living in a clean place. And so I create a scene that's like that. And I imagine that scene, so I find peace in my heart, and then I imagine that scene. And then the self-talk that I will have on breaks during the day, if this is the scenario that's I'm working with, will be, isn't it wonderful that my boys help around the house, my teenage young men help around the house? Isn't it wonderful that we honor and respect each other's space, and we have compassion, and we have love for each other, and we have fun and adventure, and we communicate with each other? Isn't it wonderful that we have such an amazing relationship? Isn't it wonderful that we both radiate love and happiness and compassion from our hearts to each other, that I bring love to this relationship and so do they? So, because the other thing in Neville's teachings, he says that everyone is us pushed out. So when, so that would be the self-talk that I would have in my mind. So when so I do the imaginal scene that implies that the house is, that we work in a unity of understanding, collaboration, of helping each other around the home. And then we go into, I've done that, and then my self-talk is, maybe I say a few hundred times a day in idle moments when I'm washing up or driving. Isn't it wonderful that my kids are really loving and supporting, and I'm loving and supportive, and that we help one another, and that we love doing that. We love sharing time together. We love going on adventures together and bringing that energy. Because as I was just saying a moment ago, Neville talks about everyone is us pushed out. So that energy, when I come to that energy, it comes from something from my childhood upbringing where I guess as a woman I had to do all those things. And so it really plugs into something within me that brings up pain from the past. So I look at that, if they haven't done, their things, and an annoyance comes up in me, I go to that place within me and I go, what is that making me feel like? It makes me feel like I'm not listened to, I'm not honored, they don't care. And then I turn them into the I am. It's like I am listened to, I am cared for, I am honored, I am respected, and I do that kind of work. And I say those many times a day. Every day I do that imaginal scene until the energy changes and the boys, just do things without me having to say. Because the other thing is it's less energetic work to do this work in the beginning, rather than never doing it and having to always feel this stress around doing things, always, all the time. And this is a biggie, I feel, because if you do the 70% of work inside of yourself, then the inspired action outside of yourself is at a much higher conscious state of consciousness, vibrational frequency or energy, and you don't have to be in so much drama. It makes you and your kids have an even more fun, playful time, and who doesn't want that as a mother? I mean, that for me, that's my biggest dream, to have a fun time with my kids, my friends, in my work, with all the people who are in my world. I want to bring joy and laughter and fun into it, So that's one of the things that I really aspire to. And I just wanted to, in the other video, I had finished. I wanted to finish the first chapter of the law and the promise, and I finished on page 12. But I'm going to read it another few pages, and then this one still is about imagining creates reality, and then the next chapter is about dwelling within that imaginal scene, because the dwelling is bringing the senses into it. But I'll finish all about the imagining creates reality. So imagining novel solutions to ever more complex problems is far more noble than to turn from the problems. Life is the continuous solution of a continuously synthetic problem. Imagining creates events. The world created out of men's imagining comprises unnumbered worrying beliefs. Therefore, there can never be perfectly stable or static state of consciousness. Today's events are bound to disturb yesterday's established order. Imaginative men and women invariably unsettle a pre-existing peace of mind. So they're always saying he's saying the world created out of men's imagining comprises of unnumbered wearing beliefs. Therefore, there can never be a perfectly stable or static state, because we're constantly self-talking and we're constantly imagining things. Some of us are conscious of it and some of us are not. And this training teaches you how to psychologically change your thoughts, your self-talk, and revisioning and imagining a different state consciously, so that you can see the outcome and you know that you created that. I mean, that's a biggie in its own right. So, and so going back to this, do not bow before the dictate of facts and accept life on the basis of the world without. So he's saying, don't bow down to the world that you're seeing, because assert your supremacy of your imaginal acts over facts and put all things into subjection to them. Hold fast to your ideal in your imagination. Nothing can take it from you but your failure to persist in imagining the ideal realized. So he's saying that whatever's going on, whatever you're seeing and hearing in your outside world, keep on persisting in your imaginal scene until it starts unfolding. And all the rest of the things that are going on are the past shadows, echoes of your past shadows of your self-talk and beliefs and emotions and thoughts that you had been doing for how many years before. And to understand that they start showing up and to start realizing, then you can, when you get better at your awareness, you don't give it so much power. You go, rather than getting caught in that same drama again. So, and nothing can take away from you your imaginal scenes. Nothing, no one. So to attempt to change circumstances before you change your imaginal activity is to struggle against the